On this episode of the T3 Fit Scoliosis podcast, a buddy of mine, Sara, and I talk about having scoliosis and being fused and training with a mace. We talk about the challenges and the surprises that we have discovered along the way. So let's get started.
So we're here to talk about mace training and being fused and what that is like, and to answer questions that people have. Sara and I we just met up a couple of days ago, and we're working out and had a really good time. And I kind of want to jump on something that you said the other day with your shoulder, because you have rotator cuff issues.
Yeah. So my spine was fused 35 plus years ago, and it's gone well. I really haven't had back pain per se, but I've had periodic shoulder pain, and this most recent issue started about 2 years ago, and it's just slowly started to get more and more painful as I did motions. And so I did lots of physical therapy, and the doctors suggested that I could have surgery, but they didn't really have a good description of what that would be like and a very concrete plan. They didn't really know what was wrong. So I decided I didn't want to do that. But at that time, I also started swimming, and I started using the mace that I had seen you using, and then other people on Instagram. And just slowly, I think that rotational movement has been so helpful in strengthening my shoulder. It's still not perfect, but functionally, it's fine. I can reach overhead, and I can, you know,
And
lift a suitcase into the overhead compartment on an airplane, and that's about the extent of what I really need to be able to do. So.
Okay, and the mobility has gotten better with working with the mace for you?
Yeah. I also do a mobility class that's like animal flow, a lot of that, and some of that stuff is pretty intense, and moving your shoulder and putting your whole body weight on there. And I didn't think that I would be able to do it, but it's gotten so strong enough that I can do most of that stuff.
Okay. We had a question, and we'll try to answer it now. I'm not sure if she's going to pop in or not, but she asked, how do you feel that this kind of training benefits us fused folk most? So do you want to go ahead and answer that?
Sure. Do you have to go answer the phone?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I can't talk from a medical standpoint, of course, but I really appreciate just the that rotational movement. It lets me move my whole body. It's not a real objectively, it's not a super super heavy weight, but still get the feeling of the heavy weight just by swinging it and moving it in all the different directions.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, for me, it's, I say this so often, it's so much like a dance, and there's so much stability that's required in any of the movements, no matter how rotational you are or aren't. And just being able to really like engage and just compress in all of the abdominal wall, and just to keep that tension there. For me, having the ballet background that I do, just helps to bring that more to the table, and to be able to bring the mace into that, to give me the feeling of dancing, even though I am limited with the movement that I have. Is like it just goes, it's a win-win for me, because it's also, you can have, a 7-pound mace or a 10-pound mace or a 5-pound mace, and you can still create tension and strength using the mace, even like we talked about the other day, lying down, holding it up over your head. It doesn't have to be a mobile movement. You don't have to move around with it, but just to help to create that tension. For me, it just, like I said, it goes hand in hand. And it feels really good.
Yeah, I told you the other day, I've always been terrified to dance. I've never liked the idea of somebody looking at me, and I can't move that way. And I've never really felt that I've been very coordinated,
Mhm.
and so much of dance seems like it's supposed to be done this one certain way, and I just don't know what to do with my body. But when I'm using the mace, it's still, there's still a learning process, but
Right.
the more I do it, I'll swing it one way or move it one way, and then I've now my muscles just know, okay, so from there I can go here, I can go there, I can
Right.
move it that way, and that really feels confidence building, I think,
Yeah.
and kind of like dance. Yeah.
And it makes you feel like when you can do that, anything's possible.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and even we keep going back and forth about meeting up the other day and sharing that here, but like just when we did meet up the other day and we did the one movement of just extending your arm, and then we talked the next day and you were like, I'm really sore.
Yeah. I
you
feel
know
that in my triceps.
right, and it's like, but doing that and then just bringing it in front of you and then doing a 360 and then switching it into another hand, and
Hmm.
you can still, like, even just walking with the mace in front of you and not letting it
Yeah.
move away, you know,
Hmm.
that alone creates such tension. And to get comfortable with that is like a whole different, it's a whole different,
Right.
it's not just your body, but it's also the concentration that it takes that is
Hmm.
required to move in that way, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
also, it's like, it's unconventional. I mean, if you come from the dance world, there's similarities, but in our world right now, it is an unconventional tool for exercising, and
Hmm.
to bring that to this world is just, it's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah.
There were
We're
other
talking about using the mace with a fused spine. Pam's daughter and I are friends, and we made the Gadas together.
cool, the
Yeah.
ice goddess.
Not the ice ones. These ones right here. Let's see if I can get a picture.
Very nice. So how,
Uh-huh.
so what, so
Yeah.
share with us.
Oh,
So
and there's a dog in the way. That's why.
so so can you share with everybody what the weights of those are?
Okay. Shasta, can you go?
Dog's rule.
Oh, I think I touched the wrong thing. That red one is 7 pounds,
Okay.
and we used I got vases from the thrift store, and that yellow one is almost 5 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and you
And then
learned. Mhm.
Pam's son also was there, and he made a 12-pound one, which we have
Okay.
at the gym. And sometimes I balance that and I walk around the gym with it.
Okay, and you learned how to make them through Stephanie and
Yeah.
Bill Sorensen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a full. If anybody's interested in learning how to make them, they give a breakdown. They have a booklet that you can
Yeah.
purchase, and
They
on
made an
them.
ebook, and they have some YouTube videos also.
Okay, okay, and then I have here. So this one, it's like pretty straightforward. It's just a regular mace, and this one is about 10 pounds. Very simple. And it's like flying all over the place. But when did you start working with the mace? Do you remember how long ago that was? It
Um,
about 2 years ago?
I had to go back and look at it. I made those maces before I ever swung anything.
Okay.
I Actually, that's not exactly true. I think I saw you using the mace and then linked to some other people, the Sorensens probably, and Kelly, and then was just wondering, like, is that something that I could do? And so I was out walking my dogs in the woods one day, and so I just picked up a stick, a branch from a tree. Maybe it was 4 feet long, and
Hmm.
maybe weighed a pound or two, just to see, like, can I move my arms and my shoulder in that motion without hurting myself? And I
Hmm.
could. So then I wanted to make one.
And,
Um,
Were you in when you saw people doing it, did it seem intimidating? Were you scared? Like what was the initial feeling that you had when
Oh, curiosity and interest. I'm not generally scared
okay,
of new things or trying things,
okay.
but
But I love the
and
fact that you used like you just found a branch and you used
yeah,
that
yeah. And
because
that was an easy way to see, like, and you could do that with a broom like you did in your
right,
class.
right.
Like just try to figure out, can I move this way? Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so then we got the material. We spent a day making them. I guess that was last summer.
Okay.
Um, and then I liked the idea of it, and they felt the first time I swung mine is less than 5 pounds,
Okay.
and I didn't really know what to expect, but it got away from me. I had to really learn how to do it, even with such a light weight. So that was interesting.
And how was it for you with your back? I'm gonna say did the mace or the Gada get in the way with your back, or did you feel that like
It does kind of. I have to really keep my hips pushed forward because my lower back, I think it humps outwards.
okay,
So I will hit myself if I'm not careful.
okay,
So but
okay,
I haven't been injured.
and you've gotten used to that by now.
Yeah, yeah.
You've gotten used to that.
But also the Gadas are pretty long. They're 4 feet tall,
Okay,
and I'm less than 5 feet tall. So there so I wanted a mace just for something smaller
okay.
and shorter to manage.
And how does the difference in the length of the neck feel for you?
The longer it is, uh, it's interesting. Like I can do different kinds of movements. The other day we were doing, holding it overhead and trying
Right.
to squat down,
Hmm.
and that with a short mace is really hard because you can't get your shoulders in the same position.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff is kind of easier with the Gada, but all of the like putting together flows and things,
Okay.
that's easier with the mace,
Okay.
just because you have less of the handle to manage.
Okay. Okay. And I when I taught the free class and people were asking like if you were going to come,
Oh,
and
really?
yes, there were people like Sarah needs to come. Sarah needs to come.
If you had told me, I would have.
I,
Actually, I think I was. I don't know what I was doing that day. I think it was challenging.
okay,
The
but
time.
yeah. So what would you suggest, or what would you say to people who when they're first starting out, or if they're interested? Like, I mean, I'm continuously advocating to start with a broom.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's so easy because everybody has one.
right, but we once again we were talking the other day, and you talked about PVC pipe.
Yeah.
Just even using that, um, because the movements are so dynamic, and just getting used to the flow of them. Is there any other suggestions that you would have for anybody?
I think just have fun with it. Try out some of the movements. Um, Doing it unweighted is a great way to start. That you would like. One thing that I like to do with the mace is just. I mean, I do a lot of stuff in the gym, right? So I do CrossFit style workouts and weightlifting and all these things, and so I like to do some of that movement with the mace as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll do, like we were doing the other day, doing kind of go through different movements and row the mace and then curl and press it overhead
Right.
and
Yeah. The
doing the
RDLs
deadlift. My
to the bar.
favorite thing in the world is deadlifting.
Deadlifting with a mace, and then you
Mhm.
tried the. I brought the ADEX mace,
Yeah, yeah.
which was I'm still not quite sure what the weight is that I carry it with. I want to say
It
12.
was heavy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's 12, but yeah, and even with, as you've discovered, with having a mace and then a Gada, the neck is
Right.
longer.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so the diversity of like learning to not fall backwards is
hmm
it's quite challenging. It's quite challenging.
I
I
think it's so good for balance.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. I there's a I did it recently, and I learned this from Mr. Mace Man, sitting on a bench and then
Oh, you
doing a
said that.
360, and that, like, you automatically want to fall backwards with the mace, but it keeps you,
Yeah.
even being fused, you still have to engage that much more to
Mhm.
stay upright. um and then if you're doing a 360 standing, the weight is just, it wants to take you somewhere, and you're like, you have to resist it,
Mhm.
which is great. But
Yeah.
I think somebody asked about, is this your friend, Harp Harper Harp
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
Chris?
yeah. That's
They're asking you about a class there.
oh, yeah. I'm a little unqualified to be teaching a class.
Okay.
But, one of my favorite things, I keep hearing this, from different people is, that by working out in general, however you're doing it, exercising your core,
Hmm.
it creates a brace, like a natural brace around your spine. And that makes so much sense to me. Is, not abs in terms of just doing sit-ups or crunches or whatever the
Right.
front part, but like I think that swinging the mace and doing all the different mace movements, it really strengthens all the muscles in your torso. And one thing that I've learned from you also is, even though my spine itself doesn't bend
Hmm.
when I do some of these movements,
Hmm.
my muscles are still tensing and getting stronger
Yeah,
just by activating them, even if the spine itself doesn't move.
that's it's so true. Like, I mean, I got certified in mat Pilates because it targeted so many of the deeper muscles, and
Mhm.
it gave me the feeling of being able to move when I couldn't. And with the mace, with, like, I keep coming back to the 360s or the 10-2s, and just those movements alone require so much. It's so funny that you chose the word bracing, because we we wore different kinds of braces years ago.
Sure did, yeah.
And
Well,
but
I heard somebody use that term exactly. It's like exercising your core muscles, all of them in your torso, not just your abs, but that really does create a natural brace for your spine.
yeah, and it just, like, like I said, for me, it's just like dance.
Hmm.
And I can't think of any better way to describe it. And using certain things as a warm up to then go into working with the mace,
Hmm.
um, is really satisfying. Like, because then, the saying, the world is your oyster. Well, then anything's possible.
Yeah.
You can swing a broom, you can swing a mace, you can swing a Gada, you can swing a branch,
Hmm.
you can swing a lacrosse stick. And just, it's not about the weight. It's about creating the mobility and then increasing the load as time goes on that. And that I think is such a gift that our bodies enjoy. And for you, you love, pressing and deadlifting. And uh, for me, that's not something that I'm really comfortable in, just because I can do it with the mace. It feels fine.
Hmm.
But with, like, heavier weights, I don't feel comfortable. So I
Hmm.
think I think Albert's asking a question. Did you start with a broom?
I didn't. Well, the first thing I swung, you came in a little late, but I picked up a branch in the woods when I was out walking with my dogs, and I swung that a little bit just to see if it felt okay for my shoulder to be in those positions. Um, so I never did. I never used a broom. I'm not very good at cleaning, and I'm not sure I actually own one. So but yeah, I used some branches while I was outside, and then I made a Gada on my own. That was the first actual thing that I swung with any weight, and it's. I showed my small one. It's less than 5 pounds, and the first time I swung it, I really. I had no clue really what to expect with it, and it got away from me, and so I choked up and just practiced it from a really with a short handle, and then
And
extended down it.
I'm going to ask you this because I know that Stephanie and Bill talk about this a lot when they make them. What type of material did you use for the pole for your Gada?
Uh, it's just a wooden dowel that I got at the hardware store.
Okay.
Here, this is my 5 pound one. I call it. I kind of initially was gonna do like bumblebee stripes, but that's just way too complicated. Oh look, I even
Right,
have the
right,
label still on from the hard.
write
Hmm?
caution on it. Write caution on it in the yellow.
Oh, that's a good idea. So this is my abstract bumblebee. It only stings a little. And then the red one is it's a ladybug.
They hang out and they both fly, literally.
They fly. Yeah.
So, is there more stuff that you want to share about your story with mace training and Gadas and?
Um, Not really. Talked
Okay.
about my shoulder, that I've had recurring rotator cuff issues, and just how much stronger it's been since using all sorts of rotational movements. I swim also, and just
And
that
have you
getting
noticed?
Gada going all the way around.
Have you noticed that with your swimming that your range has increased since using the Gada or the mace?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's. I love hearing how people's stories progress with this, um, and for me, it's just been like I said, it's a dance, and I have two, uh, but um, the Adex one, which is a longer one, long. It's got a long neck, and it comes apart, which is really nice because then it you can use the plates also for just working out, and they don't have to be heavy.
Hmm.
You can use them for reverse flies. There's 2 pound, 2.5 pound plates, 5 pound plates. You can use the neck just alone as you would a branch or a broom.
Hmm.
Um, and that I really enjoy. Uh, and it's interesting to feel the diversity of the movement with between the two, between just a regular mace like the one that I have that's 10 pounds, and then the Adex, because the Adex does the neck is longer, so it does want to gravitate you backwards if you're doing a 360,
Hmm.
or if you're just doing a pendulum and letting it swing side to side, and that becomes really challenging and how to get used to that,
Right.
how to get used to uh to moving with that and feel and having it feel okay on your back, because for me it was very it was intimidating,
Hmm.
I didn't want to hit my back with this thing.
How long have you been using the mace?
It's over 2 years.
Hmm.
It's over 2 years. And when I first started, uh I worked with Kelly and Paul and another guy whose name is Trainer on Instagram. I think it's John. And they were doing a workshop here, and I went to the workshop. And when I first worked with them, and it was great because it was supposed to be a huge class that it didn't work out with the space that they had. So they found another space, and there were only two of us. So it was like a one-on-one, which was a gift.
Yeah.
Um, but the first mace that I think I used Gadas with them, and I don't even it was weird because I think I might have used a 5 or a 7, and that felt too light,
Hmm.
but then a 10 or a 12 was intimidating.
Right. Right.
So to find that balance of, getting used to it was hard, and but they had like the studio that they used had maces and Gadas, and then they came just to this from Connecticut, and we walked around the city with Gadas. It was great. And then
Oh, that's cool.
and then we went to Central Park, um, and near the Dakota, and they just
Mhm.
swung, and I just watched. And
Yeah.
I kept watching, and I kept learning, and working with them, and then just still continuing on my own and increasing my load and listening to my body.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
which is so important. I mean, we hear everybody say that all the time. It's most important that you just listen to what your body is saying and how it feels. And like when I talk about the maces that I have, the ADEX, I'm not here. I don't. It's not sponsorship or anything. But the thing that I like about the ADEX is that if I'm not feeling up to, I don't know, 12 pounds, I can lessen the weight.
Mhm. Right.
Be like, oh, today it's just going to be 10 pounds,
Mhm.
or today it's just going to be 5, and that's fine.
Mhm.
And I like that diversity of that. So that's kind of my story. We have a question here from Car.
Yeah, she asked if there's classes going on in Zoom or in-person classes, and you're in the process of getting certified, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm working towards that. I did do a free class. Uh, there's a possibility I might do another one, but if anybody's interested, you can just send me a message, and I will get back to you on that. But yeah, I mean, I think
I'm very much an amateur. I would love to take classes, and I'm an amateur in everything. There's so many things that I want to be doing all the time.
mhm.
So I don't think I'm gonna become certified anything, but um, there's so many people out there who are teaching classes with the mace now, and it's a little bit overwhelming because you start following this person, then you link to that person, and I don't know who to take classes from.
It's well,
Uh,
welcome to New York City.
I have dogs clicking when they walk through my room, and you have ambulances and
We
fire
have
trucks.
we have yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm right on an avenue, so there's always a lot of noise. But yeah, I'm looking into, I'm in the process of getting certified. And I'm super excited about that because I just think that in our world, I have not met anybody who teaches. And I am really passionate about this. And once again, I keep saying, if you love to dance, then you'll love the mace.
Mhm.
And you are, proof in the pudding. You had a rotator cuff issue, or have a rotate, and it's gotten better over time.
Mhm.
And you're fused.
And I'm phobic of dance, and at the same time, I feel like I'm dancing.
Right, right. So that's the gift that the mace training has given you, and I just love that, and I want to share that with more people. So we can wrap it up. So
Yeah, this has been a good conversation.
thanks for doing this. It's fun. We always have a good time, and
Yeah,
doing a live is something a little new.
it's my first one.
What's that?
It's my first one.
There you go. There you go. So so if anybody has any questions, you can just post them in the comments. Otherwise, I think Sarah and I are just gonna wrap it up. And if you have any questions, just privately, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But I hope everybody it's about to pour here. Um,
Really? Oh, that sounds
yeah,
wonderful. It's
yeah.
so hot here.
We're gonna have, the skies are very gray, so I probably won't be going to the roof. Um, but if anybody has any questions, just feel free to message us, and we'll get back to you. And for everybody who came and joined us, thanks for taking the time to just hang out with us on this live, and hopefully we piqued your interest in mace training.